combination of everything. It might be something really, might be a neat, a neat, I can't speak, a unique thing to promote, and to give it some opportunities. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to shut my door, guys. But anyway, just wanted you guys to know, I know Nancy, and I think we're already aware of the senior stuff that I'm talking about, but everybody should, check it out anyway. So, I will mute my, oh, now they're gone. All right, well, whatever.
All righty. Well, welcome everyone to our regular Tuesday night Collaborating Connections Professional Networking Zoom meeting. My name is Dawn Evans-Casey, and I'm the leader of the group. Collaborating Connections has been around for 7 years now. 7? Yeah, 27. Geez, the time has flown. And we are part of the TTR networking that is to the Rescue networking group that started here in Central Indiana over 14 years ago. Woohoo! All right. So we used to meet in person. Collaborating Connections started on the east side of Indy and well, actually Greenfield. And we then moved to the east side of Indy. Then because of COVID, we've gone virtual to the Zoom meeting, which has actually allowed us to meet wonderful professionals from coast to coast and around the world. So if you're listening to a recording of this podcast, know that we would love to meet and chat with you. Collaborating Connections and TTR networking is all about relationship building, education, and sharing great referrals with one another. So with that in mind, we are going to start off this evening acknowledging wins and gratitude. So I'm going to open the floor and allow anybody who's got a win or a statement of gratitude that they would like to share with the group. This just allows us to get to know each other better and to share in the celebration of the great things that are happening in our lives and in our businesses. So, who's up?
Don't make me start, people.
I was gonna say, this weekend went to a SCORE event, and while I don't have the bandwidth to become a SCORE mentor, I am going to start doing webinars and classes for them. So I'm excited about that.
Yay!
Exciting! Wow!
That is awesome.
Yeah, and it's open to anybody, and it is free. So that's one of the things I'm going to be doing with them. I'm meeting with them in a week to kind of finalize all of that. And potentially doing some classes at Ivy Tech through their entrepreneur program as well.
Awesome.
So,
keep us posted on those as they get scheduled, and we'll be
absolutely
sure to broadcast those as well. I love the programming that SCORE offers. So.
And I finally got my bleep together and scheduled a TTR present with Jennifer, but for the life of me, I can't remember when it is.
Oh, well, that's not a good sign. Guys, she shouldn't have told you she forgot the date. Oh, no.
Hey, I'm being honest. Hence why you got that email back that says the day before the actual presentation.
No, I'm going to tell you, it's November the 14th. Now, that may sound like a ways off, and it is a little bit, but partially because we have some other events that are coming up, good things. but we are very excited to have Pavithri sharing with us again. And that is, I can tell you more about that in a little bit, but it's November the 14th in the evening, 7 on Zoom. And I think, I'm sorry, guys, I'm moving the phone around. I think it's going to be interesting, and I'll tell you more about that in a little bit, but we did settle. I like to have a little bit of time to, market it and promote, get people to know we're doing it. So thank you, Pavithri, for doing that.
It's gonna start at 7 and I'll stay on till all the questions are answered. But that's my update.
So
Awesome.
can we do gratitude as being something that kind of weird way of doing it? I just thank you all for being part of everything that we're doing, because I see your names on here. We had a really great Catherine, the crazy red-haired lady, did a wonderful presentation last week, and I didn't even realize until like a day or two before all the preparation that she had gone to put that together. And I know, even CB was part of this because he had to get his kids out of the house so she could deliver it. And I remember I was going to ask her, so is CB going to be able to be on? And when she was explaining, I mean, it's just, she poured her soul out to do that. So I will be getting that added to the website. It is on the YouTube. And if somebody wants to look at it, I will probably, the best way to do it is probably send it out in a kind of a blog form kind of thing. I just want people, if you're going to watch it, make sure you've got time to really listen to it. Don't I'm sorry, I don't want to say a bad word, but don't half-ass listen to it, because it's just a really good, Pavithri is shaking her head. You just have to know her heart is, she bared every, it was
I'm
great.
agreeing with you.
Yeah, I know. And thank you. But I really am grateful that we have a platform where we can do that. And we had a couple people on that were not at all TTR members. They just, like my mother, who I think really enjoyed it, wants to spend some time talking to Catherine and CB maybe sometime down the road, because she really, but she was having a lot of technical issues. We couldn't get her to figure out how to unmute herself at one point, but that's where I feel like we can do those things. It's just grateful. I would just tell you, it really makes me grateful for the community that we've built of good people, that she would even get herself to that point of sharing like that for us. That tells me that she really, I don't know, we've created a safe environment. I guess I don't know if that's the right word, but she just made me like, oh my gosh, she really put her heart and soul into it. And then I heard from all these people, not from them, but I heard that there was all this, support around her during that, Pavithri and Nicole and Dawn and maybe Nancy. I don't know. And I'm sure CB was not just, he was probably encouraging her all the way. So that just, to me, there's gratitude that needs to be expressed right there. I feel like I was just kind of going along, and I asked her to do it and she did it, but I did not realize all that went into it. So thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. It was
I
a
think-
great TTR Presents.
I think that goes to show the community this has become.
Oh, you're a sweetheart. Thank you.
Yep.
I just want people listening to know that, right? It's networking, but it's also building relationships and a community around the entrepreneurs that are working through things and sometimes struggling through things. And there is a network of not just collaboration and connections, but also support and encouragement.
I hope,
Absolutely.
yeah, I hope that is what happens. I really do want that to be the case. And I think thank you, Pavithri, and during the, all the, the Zooms and everything, you just hope that people understand it doesn't have to be, it's harder to do it when you're talking to somebody in another state. It is harder, but it's harder. But when you do it and you still can create those good vibes with each other, somewhere down the road, you might meet that person in person and it'll be like you already knew them. You know what I mean? I mean, yeah. So anyway, I hope that makes sense. I know it's tough. There are a lot of people who don't want to get on a Zoom call. They just don't want to do it. But you know what? We've got members that are on Zoom calls and they're still as close to us, I hope. I hope they would say the same thing. I don't know, maybe it's because I put everybody through the ringer before but they have to go. I don't know. You're all looking at me goofy, but thank you for saying that, Pavithri. I do think we have a unique community, guys. That's cool.
Yep, yep. Any more gratitude or wins?
I'll mention Saturday I ended up going up to Maryville, Indiana, and got to meet Dr. Karen Becker and Rodney Hubbick. They've done 2 books on forever dogs, keeping them alive and how you can do it. And they also have a dog cancer series. Since the last 3 dogs I've lost to cancer, I'm into trying not to do another one to cancer. But it was very educational, and I met a lot of like-minded people that go over and above to keep their dogs around longer. So we're all it was a very good meeting. I met a lot of nice people up there.
Oh, great. I saw the pictures you posted on social media. I wasn't familiar with the names of those individuals, but I'm sure that there are some really great tips that you gain from being a part of that type of network of like-minded people, and hopefully it does go far. Losing a fur baby is awful, and if you can work with smart people who can give you a plan to help extend the lives of your fur babies and avoid diseases like cancer, that is awesome. So share that, because I know you're not the only one out there with the fur baby.
Right.
And
Nancy, you could have told me that a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yay, Christmas, too late. I'm sitting here looking at the phone, looking at my pathetic face, and I'm like, that would make me cry, even if I didn't know it was me. No, that had to have been a neat event. Nicole said you were extremely excited. So
Yeah.
Cool. Glad to hear it.
awesome. Robert, CV, any wins or words of gratitude you want to share?
Wins. I guess I think always gratitude for every day you get a chance to make a difference in someone's life. Always gratitude that I'm fortunate to work for a bank that's really contribute and really try to make an impact to the community. And also in my heart desire to always be a part of trying to make a difference in the community itself. I'm preparing to kick off our team mentoring program, putting that all together, and that's moving right along, and a lot of energy taken with that. Giving back, and then I know in the same time frame, taking some of my young people to some of the 15 young people to the Colts game on Sunday. So seeing them and their families make a difference, because people say, "You're not going to the game." I said, "No, I'm just only here to give the ticket out." So, all I did. Get tickets out and see y'all later. So enjoy the game. So that gratitude that. So I'm really faithful, grateful that I'm part of organizations, 100 Black Men, as well as a job that's able to allow me to do what I love. Passionate and make it happen.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Robert. Giving back, the gratitude, it comes in so many shapes and forms. So I appreciate you all sharing your words of gratitude and sharing your wins. CB, I know you said it might take you a little
Okay,
bit. Okay.
time for me.
Yep.
Gotta let y'all, get going before I go ahead and, the last week's been good. I am now doing yearbook photos for Holy Cross. So working with them on that. Then the fire photos that I did with Chase, I'm also working with their principal to try and get in and do the soccer, volleyball, basketball teams with those. So working on that. So a lot of gratitude in that. Things going forward there. So yeah, real happy. So I've just been really good week in terms of getting stuff going and hope to keep the trend going. Yeah, so that's that.
Super fantastic. Thanks so much for sharing that, CB. The yearbook photos for Holy Cross, very cool. I'm not sure what connection got you there, but I know that you just love the photography and you'll do an awesome job with them. Let's see, my wins and gratitude. Gratitude around, of course, just towards this whole group. Thank you all for being here tonight. TTR networking and its programming all year long has been awesome, and I've enjoyed all of it. So I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that we have a format like TTR networking to gather together, to talk, to share in a very comfortable setting and work with wonderful professionals that we trust and can rely on. So, but that's my gratitude. This past weekend, I did the Penrod Arts Festival, and I could spend the whole day out there. All of the different types of art that are displayed is just amazing. And I really get wrapped up in all of it, asking questions and looking at the details and walking around and enjoying the good food and music. So if you have opportunity and you see the tickets available, go to Penrod. It's definitely an uplifting, enjoyable experience. And that was a wonderful Saturday this past week for me. We're going to roll into our updates with TTR networking, and I'm going to ask Jennifer Johnson if she would share with us what's going on with TTR. Jennifer, take it away.
Yes, ma'am. We have quite a bit, actually. So thank you. We have TTR Celebrates next Tuesday. And I know it's a weeknight, but it's also right at the same time that this meeting is. So it's going to be in person. And I will tell you, it's going to be at the TikTok Lounge. I sent out all of our global partners, our community partners, our leaders, our members, everybody. I invite you all. And if somebody wants to check us out and wants to attend to find out what more we do, it's all about celebrating these wonderful people who are part of our community. I just want to really show gratitude to all of you. And so TTR will be buying some of the food. If you want to have a 10-course meal, you better bring your own pocketbook for that one. And they have the best Bloody Marys, I think, or something. But I'm not buying those either. We do, if you want Bloody Marys. I don't think I want Bloody Marys, but it's out. We've got the patio. As far as I can tell, it's going to be a pretty nice week. It's from 5:30 to 7:30. We're just going to have fun. It's actually not a lot of organization. I just want people to meet each other. I want people to see Pavithri and Robert, who are our two global partners that honestly, without those two, and their financial assistance, honestly, some of the programming and stuff that we do would be very difficult. We kind of, um, we've changed over COVID, and I think we've changed for the good. I don't want it to, but it really has kind of streamlined some of the things I'm doing and some of the programming for the future. I know what I want to do. I know that I don't want to say I'm getting old, but I feel kind of like, you know what? I want to work, but I want to work at what I want to work at. And I am excited to say that there is enough of you good people that have jumped in. You're in these groups, you are out sharing. When I ask you questions, you give me your ideas and not afraid to share those. And anyway, so Tuesday is about you guys. Come, just be casual. I don't want anybody coming with any major, thing that they have to, don't worry. We're coming to have, if you've ever been to the TikTok lounge, it's kind of laid back. It's a fairly laid back, but Lita Nichols and her husband, Reagan Kojak Holdings, owns TikTok Lounge, and they're a member of TTR. And we are going to party a little bit and talk a little bit about some of the upcoming things, which really don't happen again until October 1st, which this group has their big visitor day on Tuesday. So that's just a couple of weeks down the road already, guys. And it's going to be on here, and I know John will probably fill everybody in, but it's during this time. And if you've never been part of a visitor day, just invite people. They're not committed. They're just here to check us out, get to know us. If this group for some reason doesn't have a spot for them, we have a couple other groups, and we have some other events that they might want to take part in. So anyway, so that's October 1st. And then the day later, we are having another online event that already was scheduled before your visitor day. And I'm just going to tell you, the month of September is Suicide Prevention Month. And we are not able to get Sherry Hammersmith in September because of her commitments, my commitments. So we've got her on October 2nd. And that is going to be, I participate. I'm actually online right now doing a couple things trying to share it. But I have been part of One Step at a Time's event in Ohio. Now it's in Defiance, outside of Toledo. But you can actually donate to it. But if you have ever been touched by suicide, maybe yourself, maybe a family member, maybe whatever, Sherry Hammersmith is my daughter's mother-in-law. So it's our son-in-law's brother committed suicide about 15 years ago. And when we met them, it had only been a couple years, and they've been married now for quite a while. But his mother, Sherry Hammersmith, dealing with her grief of losing her son, created this One Step at a Time. And I really would encourage people, I'm going to try to get as much sharing out there as I can. It's in Toledo. Yeah. But it's honestly, we participate. I sing for it. We do music. We participate in the race. But it's all about teen suicide, depression. And it doesn't only happen in September. It happens all year long. So that's why we thought, October 2nd. Now, I know some of you have been on those calls with Sherry over the last couple of years, and there's some really big things she's done in the schools and stuff here in Defiance, which is where I'm at right now. But I've had the pleasure of hearing her present, not only on our Zooms, but in the real world. And it's an unbelievable story that she tells, and how she handled a very big, horrible, traumatic thing that happened in her family. And it's a daily thing. So we're doing that on October 2nd. You just jump on, and you know what, guys, I think back on that, there have been a couple really big things that have come out of that. And we can talk about that another time. But I put this out on Eventbrite, and the right people will be on that call. So if you know somebody, maybe you're not, maybe you're not available, but if you could even share it out there, because it's a unbelievable cause. And anyway, we're doing it October 2nd. Yeah. And then we have the Tricks to Make Networking a Treat on October 23rd. That's an event with inspiresmall.biz. And that is actually, that is at Office Evolution in Carmel. And that is on the 23rd of October. It's an in-person event. Now, I know Pavithri has some of the other events that Inspire's doing. Unfortunately, I was really clued into the business, the Spotlight, Bright Ideas show, but I've kind of lost track of what the days are. So is that coming up next week already, or did it already go by?
Yeah, no, it's, hang on. What time is the October 23rd event?
I think that's from 3 to 6.
Okay.
And that's at Office Evolution. So you could just pop in anytime you want. I've actually got a music job that afternoon, so I'll be popping in late. But
Gotcha.
that's his annual thing that he's done, I think, 4 years now.
Yeah.
Yeah. But do you know, is it Bright Ideas next week already?
Yes. Yeah. This Friday is Spotlight at Dave & Buster's in Castleton. 18th is the Bright Idea show for September. Don is speaking in November.
Oh. No, she's like, wait a minute, next week? What's the theme of Dawn's presentations? And because you do have themes, don't you?
Heritage.
What, courage?
Heritage.
Okay. What is it?
Heritage.
Oh, I thought it said courage. What's that? I'm losing my mind. Okay. Well, we have a lot coming up, and I would just tell you, we try to get all these things in between Inspire Small and everything. Inspiresmall.biz, between their events and our events, you've got things you can be doing all the time. And if you don't already know this, as a member of TTR Networking, you can sign up for a side hustle membership with InspireSmall.biz that doesn't cost you anything. It's just a no-brainer, guys. And then you get to participate. And I think we've linked arms a lot more this year than we've ever done. But I think Brian has said it a few times. I mean, we're all people can be members of both and really get a variety of opportunities. He doesn't offer the industry exclusive like this. So there's something to that, and balanced out with all, and I will never.
I'm part of both, and I can attest to that.
Good.
I mean, I found TTR through Inspire.
Yeah.
And I have had access to a lot through both programs.
Good. Thank you for saying that. And I've actually had quite a few people that have called me and ended up that we've been on a call, and it turns out that Ryan sent them to me, and I've done the same. So I feel very safe. There are some, I'm just going to say no names, but there are some organizations that I wouldn't do that, because I know that they wouldn't take care of them, for one thing, but I'd also be afraid that they would, woo them away and we'd never see them again. So it works out well. But Dawn, that's a lot going on, but it's all good stuff. It's a lot. This time of year gets busy for everybody anyway. I know we've all got, schedules and stuff that start getting really busy. So anyway, it is.
The way to stay on top of everything, of course, is to follow the calendar on the TTR Networking website, which is written out to the rescue in.com. That is the TTR Networking website, and all of the events are posted there. But of course, you can always reach out to one of us and, connect and chat and just talk about what's coming up, talk about meeting up there. It's just a great way to stay connected. So thank you again, Jennifer Johnson. Much appreciated.
You're very welcome.
So last week we had a very small group and had some more general discussion rather than the actual networking meeting. But Nancy Vesely thoughtfully brought up, both Nancy and I were in a Southside networking group under TTR years and years ago. And what we used to do as part of our regular weekly meetings was each member had a spotlight scheduled date where they would do, say, a 15-minute talk about something going on in their industry or in their expertise. And that, of course, contributed to that educational aspect, that professional development aspect that we all know and love. That's a part of TTR networking. You know, while we're talking about what we do, we are also educating each other about our industry, about things that are relevant, and helping them remember what we are about so that, you know, they can do robust referrals. So tonight, Nancy Vesely is going to do the 15-minute spotlight, and I will let her kick off our roundtable introductions. So, Nancy Vesely, take the microphone.
Am I doing my speech or just presenting?
You're doing your 15-minute presentation.
Okay. So I'm going to break down Medicare 101 to everybody that you might not have to be involved with it yet, but at some point you're going to have to get involved with it. The big difference that I'm going to talk about is original Medicare versus Medicare Advantage plans, which will start being on TV if they're not already there, because open enrollment is coming around. So they'll start ringing the phone and calling and putting stuff in your mailbox for Medicare Advantage plans usually. What's the difference between original Medicare and Medicare Advantage plans? Original Medicare is on the government. The government pays for those events, for all that stuff. Medicare Advantage is usually paid for by insurance companies, and they are in charge of what they will pay and what they will not. And it's just like employer coverage. I associate Medicare Advantages to. Original Medicare, you can go to any doctor at any time without a referral, without anything. As long as they take Medicare, you can go to that doctor. So if you're traveling, you can go to a doctor's, or if you're local and you decide you want to go see a particular doctor and they take Medicare, you can just go to them and your bill would be covered by Medicare. Original Medicare covers 80% of your costs. And then with original Medicare, you pick up a Medicare supplement, and that pays for the rest of it. So all you'd be paying every month would be your Medicare supplement and your prescription drug coverage plan. Simple. And then you could budget every month what you are going to be paying for insurance or for Medicare, because that is what you pay. The only thing else that you would have to be paying are drug coverages, which you pay a premium for the prescription drug plan, but then you also have to pay whatever co-pays and co-insurance that are not picked up by the insurance company. The Medicare Advantage usually has $0 premiums. They do, and they cover drug coverage. And they usually throw in other things like dental, hearing, and vision. And those coverages are usually just basic, you know, for dental plans, cleaning and that. So if you had like implants or cavities, you might be paying out some more additional money for the Medicare Advantage plans. Medicare Advantage plans are also called Part C. everything has multiple names in Medicare because the government likes to make it as messy as they possibly can. What else? Part D, Part C. So normally when you talk to an agent, what they end up doing is we look at your drugs and your doctors and then decide which direction you want to go. If you want to go the supplement that start out like when you're turning 65, 100, 120 is usually the low end of those. And as you get older, they're going to go up. How much? Don't know. And it's not related to your health. It's related to how much the plan is costing for everybody in that group. So you could be healthy and your plan when you're 75 is going to be the same price as someone who doesn't has multiple drug issue, multiple health issues. So that's where the price on the Medicare supplements come from. The Medicare Advantage, you're paying 0 premium, but you're going to have to pay for services. So if you go for blood work, you'll have to pay like $10 copays and co-insurances for all the Medicare Advantage plans. So you're going to pay as you go for Medicare Advantage plans. Sometimes, in addition to those prices, you also have to have Part A and Part B of Social Security. Part A, if you work 40 hours or 40, not 40 hours, 40 quarters, 10, I think it's roughly 10 years, however they figure that. It's 0 for people that work. Part B for this year is $174. So a lot of times what happens is if people don't have a lot of income, you know, they're just bringing in Social Security, you really have no choice but to do the Medicare Advantage plans. It all comes down to what you can afford, unfortunately. And there are some real advantages to Medicare Advantage. I mean, some people, it works well. I mean, you've got your fans on both sides. I was just Googled and wondered how many people are in Medicare Advantage plans. And as of 2024, 54% of people are on, of the seniors out there are on Medicare Advantage plans. In 2010, it was 25, 2021, 47. So it's been growing. And the insurance companies get paid by the government for taking people off original Medicare. So the government would like you off of Medicare because then they won't have to deal with the bills. But if you can afford it, it tells you how much you're going to be paying every year, because you know you're going to pay that $100 for your supplement, $174 for Part B, and that's all you're going to have on medical bills, and then your prescription drug coverage, whatever co-pays you have on that. Starting in 2025, the maximum on prescription drug coverage is $2,000. Right now, there's no limit on how much your drug coverage could be, because even on Part C's, they have a maximum out-of-pocket number, but that does not cover drugs. That's just for testing and visits, specialist visits and stuff. So drug coverage has no maximum of anything. So a lot of times for some of the more expensive drugs, you're probably not footing the full bill. Like the one, I was just having a conversation with my brother about Jardiance, and he's paying $500 for a 3-month supply. He's on a Medicare Advantage. And so he's saying, let's look around and find someone that's going to cover Jardiance, because Jardiance is a brand name. It doesn't have any generics on it yet. It's a up and coming drug, and it's on TV, you know, they want you to buy that drug. And it's really sad because They're making money. The pharmaceutical people are making money left and right. And then they talk to the doctors, and you walk in the doctor's office and they want to throw you on those drugs. So then you get on them. But next year it's going to be, everybody has to be looked at because of the drug coverage and the $2,000 max. They're going to have, we just found out today that IU Health has a plan, a Medicare Advantage plan, and next year they're getting out of the Medicare Advantage plan. They're not doing any insurance plans on their own anymore. And that's probably because of the drug issue, the drug changes. So you're hearing more and more. Mutual of Omaha had a prescription drug plan, and next year they're stopping. So we're just hearing the beginning of it. I'm sure it's going to come down to less and less choices out there for the drug plans because of trying to keep it. I know they're gonna, a lot of them are not doing, there's some plans out there on Medicare Advantage that do a give back that gives you money back for some of that Part B $174. More and more of those people are disappearing too with the changes next year. So yes, you limited your total drugs, but it's going to have other effects too. But what was interesting is they usually at this time, all the different carriers have meetings. So you go talk to other insurance agents. And I don't know how many insurance agents I've talked to recently. And I've asked, do you have more Medicare Advantage people or Met Sup people? And the people with insurance agents, Met Sups, we have more Met Sup people than we do Medicare Advantage. So that's saying that people that are getting into the Medicare Advantage aren't even talking to insurance agents. So if you have a insurance agent for your car insurance and your house insurance, you should really have one for your health insurance also. Not that you need anything at this time, but it's good to have one in your pocket to, if you have questions, or, you know, next year I'm going for surgery. What can I do? Or can I get something in place that would help pay for some of my expenses? And we could work with you and see what we can do for you. But Medicare, it's confusing. And personally, I talked to some people, and some people know what they're talking about. They know where they are. And then you find the next person, it's like you're questioning. You know, you wonder if they have someone they can bring in on the conversation, because you're questioning if they're following what you're saying. You know, they want to go to the cheap one, but maybe the cheap one's not the best one for them. You know, and it makes me wonder. And that's why when I talk to people, a lot of times if I feel they're doing where they're good where they are and they don't need anything else, they don't need to change companies, it's not going to help the situation, I walk away and I just tell them right off the bat, you're in a good plan, just stay where you are, and if you have any questions or problems, give me a call. And a lot of my meetings are like that, and I don't force something on someone that they don't need. You know, changing from Humana to Aetna, it don't mean anything. There's going to be the same coverage relatively. You know, the drugs are going to be the same in most cases. So I don't push to sell them a new plan just to be on for their agent, because they don't need it. They've got a good plan. And I've got to say, with the company I'm with now, it's a lot nicer, because previously it was like sell something, you know, and it's like, no, you don't have to sell them something, you know, you don't have to sell them for gaps in their insurance. You know, if they go in the hospital, there's co-pays on Medicare Advantage. You got usually a 5 days and $300 a day copay. And okay, maybe, but do they need it for sure? No, you don't really need it. You can, you know, do payments on the hospital. They're not going to need that money immediately. But that's it. So that would be one thing that your Medicare supplements would not be. those gaps like that. It's all paid. But yeah, Medicare Advantage over Medicare supplements. And I forgot to turn my timer on. And I don't know where I was. But yeah, that's my big thing right now, is just trying to educate people and explaining the advantage of it. And then a lot of people, they hear things that, you know, on the TV, and it's like, hey, they said I could get this other plan that's a better plan that gives me more over the counter drugs. A lot of the plans have like $75 over the counter drug plan budget for everybody, that they can get aspirins or Band-Aids. They send you a book of all the things you can get. And the next one has $100, and it's like, it's, you know, they're just trying to get people over to their plan, but they're relatively the same value. And some of them you have to call. And now the new one is you can use your insurance card and go into like CVS on some plans and pay for your aspirins or whatever you need right then and there. I mean, they're pushing stuff like that in some instances, which, okay, that could be helpful. You know, if you need something, you need it now. And allegedly on the codes on the shelves, you can see what is applicable, what you can buy for your money and what you cannot buy. I haven't been in there to see what they look like, but that's what they're saying this year in one of those many meetings we have. But that's the whole thing I got.
Well, thank you, Nancy. I certainly, this September is the 60-second elevator pitch theme, and I want to make sure that I also give you time to share your elevator pitch for anybody listening to this recording. So please introduce yourself and your business. And
Nancy Vesely. I work with IAMERICA Insurance. We are local licensed health insurance agents, independent brokers that have the major carriers in the area. We don't have everybody, and we got to let you know, we don't have every single person offering policies available, but we have the big ones. And if we don't, we could tell you, if we're looking at your number and if one of them comes up that I do not have, I could refer you to someone that would have that one. Oh man, I gotta work on my elevator pitch.
all right. Well, thank you so much. Much appreciated, Nancy. Do we have any questions or comments tonight for Nancy? And the information that she has shared about Medicare and Medicare Advantage?
I would just plug that Philip, my husband, who is not able to be on right now, he would normally be jumping in here, but he just started Medicare on Sunday. No, that was his birthday. Wait a minute. He did it a week ago. Sorry. And Nancy's been helping us. And I used to sell Medicare. And I'm blown away by the different things that happen over years. And all I guess I would just say, Nancy did a great job, but Nancy's available anytime we need her. I mean, when she gets that text at 3 o'clock in the morning, she's going to be really saying negatives. And no, we're not. But you get the idea, though, that you do need to work with somebody, no matter how much you think you might know, or maybe you don't know. That even is more important because there's so many little pieces of the puzzle. And I will say there's some options out there, and I do think it's really important to hear somebody say that if they thought you were doing the right thing already, they're not going to try to sell you something else that makes no sense. I don't know how people can live with themselves if they do that. And I would say, except for CB on here, I got to be honest, CB, we didn't have any pictures, so we had to have pictures. He couldn't say, well, you already got pictures, but everybody else in here has been, we ask them questions and they they just say, you know, you've got this or you've got that or whatever. And Nancy has not, you know, she's found out anything we needed question wise. And just, you know, Philip did do a lot of comparing, and he's been worried about it for a good year, if not more. So, you know, it comes up quickly though. And I guess what I would just say is that, you know, you may not be at that time in your own world yet. It comes quickly, but it would also be that you're probably talking to somebody who is dealing with it or could be very soon. So just, I think it's good to know good people. And you know what's so funny is Nancy, and I won't put any names on here, but there's a number of people that found, you know, realized Philip's birthday was, and they, you know, you're getting mailings all the time. That's because they know that out there in the world, they know when his birthday. But we also had a lot of people, I think, just assumed we were going to work with them. You know, I've known Medicare people for years, and you know, it's like, well, why would you make that assumption? Are you on our calls every week? Are you, do I know you? I mean, I might have known you 10 years ago. I don't know you now. You know, I mean, they're not committed to the relationship end of it. They just knew that he was, you know, potentially going to pay a commission. We aren't going to, you know what I mean? He was, the value was the money. It wasn't. It's kind of funny when I think about it, but anyway, it's kind of nice to know we had, you know, we've had a really, and Nancy is part of a group with Erica Flores and everything. Good people, you know, but we know them. That's why you get on these calls, get to know people. So thank you, Nancy, for your help.
Thank you
very much.
There's
You're-
a website called Turning 65, and you can get people's addresses. I mean, there's just so many of them I mean, it's ridiculous. And I've tried sending birthday cards, but I haven't gotten any luck getting anyone and I think honestly, because a lot of people, just because you turn 65 does not mean you retire.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's why it didn't work as well as we thought it would, because it was like they give you the whole address, and if you get the app, you get phone numbers. So it's like calling wasn't helping, but I'm thinking it was because people aren't retiring when they're 65. We're working longer, so.
Yeah, wow.
Nancy, do you know of instances where people, or if it's even allowed, do people flip-flop between the Medicare and then the Medicare Advantage and then want to go back?
Yes, you can flip-flop. The first year you can do either one, and you have the option to go to the other one without anything. If you are on like Medicare Advantage for over 2 years, you have to go through underwriting to get back to the supplements. And going through underwriting, there's two things that could happen. They could outright reject you, and so you have to stay on Medicare Advantage, or they're gonna accept you, but they're gonna up your premiums so much that you won't be able to afford to go back into the supplements.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, you can, I mean, if you're healthy, if you're having a good few years, you could apply for it and maybe probably get in, depends on. I haven't successfully gotten anyone back into it.
Okay. Okay. I was
It's
just wondering.
doable and it depends. Yes, last year it was surprised. I was surprised they took the $170 up to $400 if he wanted to take a supplement. And so he just said, no, thank you.
Wow.
And stayed where he is, but you can go back and forth in supplements. You can change, but again, they're all paying the same thing. I mean, unless a lot of times people say, oh no, I need Cigna, or they hear a word or a company and they really like that company, so they want, and you can on the supplements change. But like the open enrollment is when Medicare Advantage, you can switch around Medicare Advantages, because then you're locked in for 2025 for Medicare Advantage for the company you're on, And then you've got 3 months of, you can look at it, and if you want to change back to where you were before, you can switch. But then after that, you're locked in for the year for Medicare Advantage.
Okay. Thank
So
you.
yeah, you can flip somewhat.
Do we have any other questions or comments for Nancy? All righty. Thank you so much, Nancy. Next, I am going to ask CB. Are you still there? Are you ready to
Yep.
introduce yourself and your business?
So this is the 60-second elevator pitch, huh?
Yes, sir.
Well, let's go with it then. I'm CB Bjork with Ascension Imaging Studio. I do headshots, marketing, branding, advertising, as well as I am a licensed unmanned aerial aircraft, otherwise known as a drone photographer, and can do real estate, buildings, all sorts of fun things with it. I like using it in weddings. I like using it in large groups and stuff like that. So it just adds another dimension to my photography. You can get more information by visiting my website, which is ascensionimagingstudio.com, or you can reach out to me with either text or a call, 317-435-2500. Thank you.
Thank you, CB. Do we have any questions or comments tonight for CB Bjork? All righty. Well, next I am going to invite Pavithri Kilgore of KPSK Consulting. Are you ready to introduce yourself and your business?
Yes, ma'am. I am Pavithri Kilgore with KPSK Consulting, a fractional human resources company that provides services to small to medium-sized businesses across the United States. We are focused on labor and employment law, so we do everything HR with that in mind. We don't just focus with labor and employment law, federal, state, and local. We also look at compliance for government agencies and how that impacts your business and your industry based on geographical location. And we kind of help grow your business with the laws changing as your business grows. So that's what I do.
All righty. Thank you, Pavithri. Do we have questions or comments for Pavithri Kilgore and KPSK Consulting?
Pavithri, do you find there are a lot of others doing what you're doing?
There are quite a number of HR consultants out there that I know of. Not a lot that I know who does it nationwide.
Okay.
Or that does it focused on labor and employment law. Most do it as HR generalist perspective. So we do full cycle HR, hire to retire. But everything we do comes from a place of compliance and risk mitigation versus just the HR for HR.
Okay.
So Pavithri is going to do a presentation for us. She did one in January. It's amazing how quickly time is flying by. I can't believe it. But we're sending out an email because we were talking about what could she do it on, and the first one was kind of 101 HR, kind of, but you were talking, not really, because you were talking about compliance things that were coming up, right? That were changing.
Yeah.
So we are kind of we're leaning it toward more like, what are your questions? What are some of the questions you have in your world? And I guess the other question, Pavithri, is Nicole and I were talking earlier, and she said, well, maybe Pavithri has a couple questions that always come up. So I would also just not throw it back, but kind of toss it to you, Pavithri, if you have a couple questions that everybody is,
I do.
of your people ask. I'm sorry.
I said, oh, I do.
Okay, so that would be good too, because I'm going to send out an email, and it's actually going to go, Nicole and I decided to send it out to everybody because we want everybody to be in on. There may be people that aren't TTR members, but they might have a question for Pavithri. So we don't want it just to be our members, but it is hard a lot of times to reach out to our members and ask them for a poll, you know, to get them to, I wish they would do it, but a lot of times I think they see it and they think, oh, that sounds interesting. Oh, I've got a question, but they never turn around and send it back. But we will be sending that out in the next day or two. But her presentation is not till November the 14th, which I say that that's still what, two months away. But if you have questions, we do want to, you know, feel free to reach out to me or to Pavithri, obviously, and say, I've always wondered about this, but that's how we're going to do this. It's kind of a, you know, your frequently asked questions kind of thing. Or what are those burning questions you have? Maybe you've not even thought about it. I've been honest with Pavithri, until I met her, I didn't even realize that was even something people would be doing, you know what I mean? So it's like, oh yeah. And then to even know that, I mean, I think one of the first things I remember her saying was, if you don't have so many employees, you really don't need a full-time HR person. I don't know, Pavithri, that may not be something you want everybody to know, but that's why they
No,
would,
absolutely though.
yeah,
I
because they
mean,
do. Yeah,
I
go
don't
ahead.
want to take people's money for sake of taking money. I want to make sure they're getting value for what I provide.
Yep,
And that's part of it.
yep,
There are things I will look at my clients and be like, are you sure you want to pay me to do that? And yeah, I mean, I had this conversation with one of my clients and I'm like, you sure you want to pay me to do this? Because you're crazy. And he actually hired a part-time assistant for me that can do some of the stuff that he doesn't need to pay me my full to do once I train her.
okay.
Yeah,
Makes
so absolutely. I have no qualms about that because you're right on that.
Okay, so that is, mark your calendar, November 14th, which is, like I said, 2 months away, but we want to give you plenty of time. And you know, when you did your presentation back in January, I know there were a number of people that I think maybe it was the first time you had even talked to some of those people. I think now that I'm thinking about it, was that when you and Lisa Bowers kind of first connected? Now you
Yep.
guys do quite a few things
Yep.
together and you lead a group together for us. Yeah, so wow, I just remembered that. I kind of was remembering her being kind of like, oh crud, because you were saying different things, and I remember her being kind of like, oh, okay, we're gonna have to talk offline or something. But
Yeah.
obviously you moved that over because you guys are friends now. But yeah. But so November 14th, everybody, but don't wait. Reach out to me or reach out to Pavithri, I would think would even be better. I am going to send an email to remind you that you need to do this, but she wants your questions. So, and like she said earlier, she'll stay on as long as there's questions. So, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Are there any other questions or comments for Pavithri? All right, thanks so much. Next, I'm going to invite Deanna. Are you ready to introduce yourself and your business?
Yes.
Yay.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. My name is Deanna Morae, and our business is the ReZenergize Sanctuary, and it is a wellness center that is really offering an unusual approach to rebuilding your body. The thing that I will tell you that is the most rewarding thing I can tell you today is watching people come to the sanctuary who have a woman who had neuropathy in her feet and legs, and she could hardly walk. She leaves and she lets me know after she's left that she is no longer having any neuropathy she's been suffering with for 5 years. it is very rewarding for me to have a woman come who says that she has eyes and she has some sort of disorder that causes her eye to trail off, and she has to do exercises all the time. After she came here to visit, she found that her eye was not trailing off anymore. And her mother found significant improvements for a product, a machine that's hard to describe, that you can't really see or necessarily even understand how or why it works, and then watch people transform. That's what I do. And that's what makes me happy about sharing love and spreading love and easing suffering.
All righty. Thank you so much, Deanna. Do we
Thank
have any
you.
questions or comments for Deanna this evening?
No, if I had a mic drop, we just drop the mic and say, there it is. That's a really good, 60-second elevator pitch that you could tell in an elevator. That's the whole idea, Dawn. I really don't want my time because I've taken everybody else's. But I really would say that's exactly, you want people to hear your elevator pitch and to say, I want to know more. I've got to get over to the ReZenergize. You know, that's really what it's about. And every week your elevator pitch can be a little different. You know, you're trying to highlight certain things. But I would think every time that Deanna's been on our calls, she's always telling some success story that is somebody listening is going to have somebody that she can connect, that they can connect with that story. So that's one of those things, those stories that you can tell, you know, and that's, I just say mic drop. That's exactly the kind of, I don't know how to show that without saying it, because you're not going to see me drop a mic, but that's exactly what it is. And, you know, the 60-second, we put that on our themes years ago when we started this, but it's still, no matter what group you're with, it's always good to be able to have that short little.
Oh, okay.
She disappeared.
She did.
Can I share one more thing just for the fun of it?
Sure.
We're working with a gentleman that has a multiple systems disorder. Basically, his body is sort of shutting down in different ways, a lot like ALS. And he's been coming here for a couple of months now, and his disease was progressing to the point that he can't really take care of himself. He can barely sit up in the chair, even though he has a wheelchair. And he doesn't have a lot of motor control at all. He can't really hold his own eyes open even anymore. So they sort of tape him open. And since he's been coming just this week, he was looking around when I was playing the bowls. He was holding his own hanky to wipe off his mouth or something for something. And he kept his eyes open this week for a whole hour by himself without tape on his eyes.
Awesome.
So when you have somebody whose life is deteriorating, their quality of life is deteriorating because their bodies are deteriorating, and then the longer they come here, the more his body is starting to work again. Oh my gosh. That's just, yeah.
I'm going to remind you, I will see you Saturday night for my 4th overnight adventure at the sanctuary. I'm very much looking forward to it. Personally, I know that it does my body good. So
I've even been having some new health improvements that I was sort of like,
super. And then we got to schedule some more roller skating.
yay.
Okay. Well, I don't see Jennifer coming back yet. And she said she was going to forego her time. My introduction, I'm Dawn Evans Casey. I wear many different hats and I love each one of them. One is spa travel. I'm a full-time, well, not full-time, I'm a certified travel agent that helps with bookings and research and just assisting people having enjoyable, memorable travel experiences. Spa travel, you can find me on social media, on Facebook and LinkedIn. And if you have any travel needs, I'm happy to help. Additionally, Cheerful Chocolate Spirit is a blog that I write, and I just have had a love of chocolate all my life. I love to share that chocolate joy with others in the form of recipes and pictures and quips and stories about enjoying chocolate. So if you are a fellow chocolate lover and looking for new recipes or just looking for some visual delight of chocolate, you can find Cheerful Chocolate Spirit on Facebook. Additionally, there is Claiming Your Roots, which is a multi-generational educational outreach program where we work with families, teaching them about family history and genealogy, the joy of knowing the past, where you came from, and making connections. All of that through Claiming Your Roots is also on Facebook, or you can reach out to me via claimingyourroots@gmail.com. And we can talk and share stories and ideas to take you on your journey with family history. And last, my last hat is send out cards, which I use to keep everything organized and all of my connections from all of my endeavors. I love to share gratitude. I love to share joy. I love to acknowledge those happy moments and good times in the form of a card that I create myself with pictures and my own sentiments to my recipients that often end up on their nightstands or their refrigerators or their mantles, because they are keepsake cards that are just wonderful and less expensive than the cards that you might find in most of the CVS or drugstores or wherever you might usually do your card shopping. So if you're interested in finding out more about send out cards, I'm happy to help. I am open to any questions or comments about any of those endeavors. Anybody? Okay.
What's your most delicious thing that you've had for chocolate and that you've enjoyed this week?
Oh, this week. I baked chocolate chip cookies. Was that Sunday night? I believe it was. And I try to do really good. I think I've shared with a lot of people, I have been diagnosed diabetic, and I do have to watch my sugar and carb intake, but I found a way to be able to balance it and still maintain my health. So I don't usually gorge on chocolate, but I love the scent of it. And I just had the scent that I just wanted to smell the chocolate and taste the chocolate. So I made a small batch of chocolate chip cookies that was absolutely delicious. Thanks for asking.
Yay.
Okay.
Okay, Don, one quick one for you.
Yeah.
At the intersection of 116th and Cumberland Road is a chocolate bonanza, a chocolate haven, a chocolate whatever. And I don't quite have the name of it, but they have like chocolate fountains and everything with it. So if you're interested in a little field trip or something, that may be a place that you would find interesting to go. They also have ice cream too, but obviously that's not important because you're chocolate. So, you know.
If it's chocolate ice cream.
Yeah. Yeah, well, there's chocolate ice cream, but this has like a chocolate fondue to it.
Ooh.
And if you give me just a second.
It's melt and dip.
Melt
and dip? Yep, that's it. Melt and dip.
I literally live like a mile up the road from it, and I have to like drive past and go, nope, not today. Nope, not going. Nope. I
Okay,
have to
well,
be.
when I come your way, we're going to Melt and Dip, Pavithri. Come on now. Come on. That's
Road trip.
awesome. Thanks so much. Yes. That
Dan,
Yeah.
have
Oh
you,
yeah, not a problem.
CB? You gotta
What?
wait till I'm off the call before you give Don any chocolate, dessert, places, whatever.
Hey, that's my chocolate sister. She knows I love chocolate.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
So
which is why
you
you need to
know,
wait for me to be off the call first.
well, that's not my problem.
Oh,
Dawn wouldn't want me not to share that.
I absolutely wouldn't want you not to. I am so glad. Thank you for putting that on my radar.
Yep,
Hey,
not a
Don,
problem.
have you found any like low sugar, low carb desserts you can make with chocolate?
Oh yeah.
Semi-sweet or unsweetened chocolate, or what are you using?
I'm usually using dark chocolate.
Okay.
That with a high
Cocoa percentage?
yeah, let me see what I've
Sorry.
got right now. No. I don't know if you can see that.
Yep. Okay.
So it's no sugar added,
Yep.
dark
Okay.
chocolate, and it is Bake Believe brand. That's 55% cacao.
Okay.
That's
Do
what
you use regular flour or almond flour?
I use a combination. I don't usually I've got coconut flour, almond flour, and regular. So I use a combination of those. I can't go absolutely without any white flour in some of my recipes because the taste really is off.
Change it. Yeah.
But I do reduce it by quite a bit, and I would recommend that.
Trying to figure out how to make cupcakes with the least amount of carbohydrates.
Then I've got something for you. I'll send it your way.
Ooh, thank you.
All righty.
Sorry, I know we
No,
went
no
from
problem.
TPR to
We
entrepreneurship
are
to
at
chocolate.
7:23, and there was, I do want to give this guidance on the 60-second elevator pitch for our listening audience. Some of the best things to keep in mind is rather than just starting with the hi, I'm blank and I do blah, 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 to find a unique catch to start off that introduction, something that really grasps attention and gets someone to lean in for the rest of your pitch. Number 2, give a compelling statement of fact. Something that really makes them, want to capture that and say, interesting. Tell me more. Don't forget to make an ask in your elevator pitch. Even if the ask is as simple as, let's follow up. Let's do coffee. Would you like to hear more? And in that respect, make sure that you give and get information for the connection, for the follow-up. To give them your business card, exchange contact information, make sure you get a number or an email, however best they like to interact. You might want to ask them also, what they prefer, a call, a text, an email, and make sure that you get the proper information to be able to make that connection so that you can talk more at another time. So I don't know, does anybody else have any idea off the top of their head as far as what makes for a great 60-second elevator pitch?
I'm thinking if you had some type of short story People remember stories really well.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get that in 60 seconds if you have
It's,
really
yeah,
short.
it's a quick story, but
Yeah.
that can be part of, that compelling statement that you share that can be wrapped up in a short story.
Yeah.
That might be very well what you do to glean the attention and hold their attention for a while. So
Right.
very good idea. That a personal story that that someone can resonate with is always a good way to introduce yourself and your business. Anything else?
Statistics.
Statistics. Okay, yeah. Because oftentimes people don't realize what the numbers really are, right? When Nancy was sharing about the percentages of individuals increasing year by year going on to these Medicare Advantage plans, that was a statistic that I didn't recognize, that it was just increasing year to year, and now that it exceeds those who remain on Medicare. So statistics are good. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, Deanna?
I don't have anything else to add, but I do have a question. And if some point in the future, this might be a way to help, is maybe each week anybody who wants it, because I would welcome it, would be to ask our group of the pitches and the things that people have heard from me, what things made them most interested in or curious enough to want to try it or pique their interest at all. I mean, most of the people in our group haven't come, so you're the only one that's come for a session, to stay. We've had a couple of folks come, just to see the sanctuary and come for the little, hey, hello, how you doing? But it makes me wonder what of the things that I have said is most captivating to anyone. And I'd be happy to give that feedback to anybody who asked that same question.
Awesome. All right. Well, there's our homework for next week, everybody. About those things that you have heard in your networking conversations, and what tweaked your curiosity or piqued your interest that really encouraged you to have that follow-up experience with another professional. So great. I'm going to send that out, put that on our social media pages, as well as share that with the group in email, and hopefully we've got some pretty interesting responses next week to share. Okay, but that's about it for now, everyone. Hope that you have had a good Tuesday evening with Collaborating Connections, and we'll look forward to seeing each and every one of you again next week. Oh, next week is in person, by the way, at the TikTok Lounge. It's the TTR Celebrates. So that'll be posted on the Facebook page and TTR Networking social media as well. So don't forget, we won't be here. We'll be at the TikTok Lounge. So take care. Go forward and have a wonderfully productive week. And we'll see you next week. Good night, everyone.